So you should have all received meeting minutes from last meetings, from last advisory board meeting. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about those at this time? Okay. Seeing none or no objections, we'll go ahead and approve those meeting minutes from last meeting, unless anyone has any objection to that. Okay. Next slide. All right, so we'll start with some administrative updates. So one of the primary things that we're engaged in right now is our UDRC research agendas for the 2023-2024 period of time. So we've discussed internally research agenda topics. We sent out an email several weeks back requesting research agenda topics from all of our data partners. And today is the last day for you to submit those research topics to the UDRC. If you have yet to receive, or if you have yet to send us research topics for the 2023-2024 period of time, please do so by the end of today. The next steps will be for us to receive all of those research idea topics, including the ones that we've discussed internally. We will prioritize those and we'll create a draft agenda. That agenda will then be communicated to the advisory board, the proper advisory board, and that will be occurring in June. And then we will receive feedback, if any, from the advisory board. And if we don't receive any feedback, we'll move forward with publishing that research agenda by. Yes, Scott, do you have a question?
I'm sorry, Jeremiah, I didn't mean to cut you off with a question. Is there any way we can confirm receipt? You did get our request, right, from USBE?
We have not received any research agenda topics from USBE other than a document that we received from Aaron a bit back prior to the research agenda process being initiated. And our feedback was that they did not constitute research agenda topics. They were more of themes, so research themes. And so therefore,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check with him. Thank you. Thanks.
No problem, Scott. So then the next step will be to communicate that research agenda to the Education Interim Committee. And we'll then make that publicly available in our website by July 1st. And that begins our next research agenda again, which will expand July 1st, 2023 through the end of June, 2024. So any questions, comments, or concerns about the research agenda at this time? Okay, next slide, please. Additional administrative updates include the onboarding of Commerce Department. We're currently focused on the MOU in order to receive the data from Commerce Department. Specifically here, we're discussing licensure data or DOPL data. We just had our organizational walkthrough today where we discussed policy, procedures, expectations, structure, and so on of the UDRC. And they've been appended to the UDRC advisory board. So their representatives here today. That individual is Carolyn Dennis. Carolyn, do you want to perhaps introduce yourself? You may already know a lot of the people here, but I don't know if that's the case. So
sure. So I'm Carolyn Dennis. I'm the assistant deputy at the Department of Commerce. I actually, though, was with DOPL for about 17 years. Have a really strong understanding of the data that they have, and we're just excited to be able to join in with the group and share our data, because it's going to make us all better to be able to understand how people are using their degrees and moving forward in their careers. So,
yep, we absolutely agree with you, Carolyn. We're really excited to receive the licensure data. I think we have a lot of great research opportunity ahead of us with the receipt of that data. So thank you so much. And the next is interesting. Some of you might say onboarding DHHS. Well, what do you mean that DHHS has been part of the UDRC for a while now, or more recently? Well, we realized that the merge occurred, then we didn't really actually treat it as if we were onboarding a whole new department, and so we've gone back and refocused on that. So our focus is to complete the ASQ, the Ages and Stages Questionnaire MOU. So it's really an addendum to an existing MOU that we have with the Department of Health and Human Services. And then we're also going to be doing an organizational walkthrough with the Department of Health and Human Services. Similar, we're going to be talking about policies, procedures, and expectations that we have here within the UDRC. So, looking forward to doing that knowledge transfer. So, next slide, please. So, we wanted to provide an additional update on a very fundamental document here at the UDRC, and that's our data governance document. So this document really says how we as an organization manage, manipulate, and we remit the data that you send to us, and ultimately we remit to individuals who are looking to use data for research purposes or even internally. So the last time that this document was updated was 2020. As you probably guessed, since 2020, a lot has occurred here within the UDRC. An example here would be the fact that the Department of Health and Health Services have merged and they become one department. We have also added Commerce Department. We migrated from the Department of Workforce Services over to USHE. There's been some recent legislative action that have defined sort of what, how we interact with specific entities here within the state government. So we are seeing a really big need to update the data governance document to address all of these changes. Some benefit here is that ORDS, or the office that we're part of, have recently hired a data governance officer. They start in mid-May, and so we're going to be working with them to apply subject matter expertise of data governance further into our data governance document. So that will be completed in 2023, and you will all be part of that process. We will have a draft data governance document, which we will send to all of you, and you all have a chance to review it and also provide feedback to us, and hopefully sort of gain assurances across the entire group here that this is exactly the data governance direction that we want to take in the future. So any questions about that?
I have a question, Jeremiah, this is Whitney. I'm wondering if that position, the data governance officer, is in addition to the privacy officer that's starting kind of in mid-May as well, or is that the same person?
They're the same individual. Yeah.
Okay, so their title won't be focused on privacy. It'll be mostly, privacy and data governance go hand in hand. I was just confused if this is their primary focus.
That's a great question, Winnie. Gary, can you remind me what is the actual title of this person? I focus on data governance here because of data governance document. Well, what is the actual title that we're going to be using for this person?
Data privacy analyst.
Data privacy analyst. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. So at 2023, that update will be, we'll complete that update and look forward to seeing a new data governance document in the near future. So next slide, please. Okay, so we wanted to provide a quick legislative session update that occurred just recently. So HB 355, this adds obviously the Commerce Department to the UDRC and appropriates one-time and ongoing funds for the support of that process. Obviously that's why Commerce Department's here today and why we're discussing receiving licensure data from them. So again, we're very excited that's occurred, and we're really excited about the research potentiality of receiving the licensure data from the Department of Commerce. And there was also SB 136, and this one specified the access for OLAG to UDRC. I just wanted to be very clear that the way that we're going to be approaching this is that OLAG is a group that is able to request data through the UDRC in the same way that other entities are able to request data through the UDRC, and they will be receiving de-identified data from us and going through the process that everyone has to go through in order to receive data from the UDRC. So as far as personnel is concerned, we are hired 2 data engineers, and we are targeting onboarding those individuals by May, by this month. And then we recently closed the position to replace Kelsey Martinez. So that closed yesterday, or I'm sorry, that closed today, my apologies. And we're going to be moving forward into the interview phase starting this week. So we hope to be able to interview individuals and hire someone within the next 2 weeks, hopefully. And then obviously there's going to be an onboarding process that occurs as well. So lastly, I wanted to provide a quick update on new data, which I've sort of already discussed a couple of times. So first of all is the Ages and Stages questionnaire. This is we're coordinating with the Department of Health and Human Services to receive this data. So there's interest both from the Department of Workforce Services, the Office of Child Care, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services for the UDRC to receive this Ages and Stages questionnaire, which would help us bridge the gap that we currently have as far as data in early education is concerned. So add additional data in that realm that which we currently do not have a lot of. And we're working again on getting the MOU addendum completed through with DHHS in order to receive those data. So, and then I already sort of spoke about licensure data from the Department of Commerce ad nauseum. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the next slide. So. Okay, wanted to provide a quick technology update. So usually at this point, I would pass it over to one of our data engineers, but of course we currently don't have that individual. Again, they'll be onboarded this month. And so hopefully in future advisory board, I'll pass over to another person, but I'll provide the technology update today. So next slide, please. So we are currently undertaking a rather large technology project where we are trying, or we're not trying to, we are going to be reaching parity with the previous UDR system prior to migrating over from DWS, and then also adding additional components that we've been wanting to add to the UDR system for a long time. So our third-party vendor is Birdwood. It is a 20-week project length. There's 10 sprints within those 20 weeks. The start date of that project was the 13th of March. And the current sprint that just ended last week, we were focusing on the ingest process. So receiving data from all of you and then doing pre-processing associated with that data. I am happy to announce that on Friday, I was given a demo on the work that Birdwood has conducted, and they were able to demo all of that functionality. So very, very happy about that. Great progress. And it's looking really fabulous. I cannot wait to show you as a group the enhancements that we've done to the UDR system at the end of this 20-week project. What that means, however, is that in the coming weeks, we will be reaching out to you to discuss the installation of the new export application for testing purposes. So we will be reaching out to all of you to start that process, to move that process forward, and for us to start testing that. So, any questions, comments, or concerns about that technology update? Okay, next slide, please. All right, now we move on to the research update, starting with Karen Tao. Karen Tao?
Hey, so on the next slide, this is the SNAP awardee for students who receive multiple awards in the same areas of study. And so currently the final report is completed and is being peer reviewed, external reviewed, and comms reviewed. We completed the data narrative just last week with management review also completed, and it's been sent out to partners for review. And once we have those back, we'll include any feedbacks that we have, then it will be ready to be published. And then on the next slide that I have, it is the current research project that I'm on. And it is the gender rich gap for women of color in Utah. And we're basically looking at the gender rich gap, focusing on women of color. And where comparing women of color to white men and then also women of color to men of the same race. Oh, I'm so sorry. Scott, is it better now? I'm just closer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on my end, but you keep breaking up a lot for me. I don't know if everybody else can hear you okay, but it's probably just me.
Okay, well,
No,
I am.
it's
No.
the same here as well. It's like you're kind of underwater a little bit.
Oh, no. Yeah, I will try to get closer to the mic and also speak a little louder. Research study the gender wage gap for women of color. So basically, I'm working on the first draft right now. We have done the interim partners meeting and implemented those feedback, and data analysis and modeling are done. So once the first draft is completed, then we'll go through the pre-review process for that one. And then I think,
Karen, would you mind doing the one previous to this one, because we couldn't hear
yeah.
you very.
sorry about that. So on that last slide, thank you, Anacasia. So on the last slide, we talked about the stacked awardees. So students who received multiple awards in the same areas of study. And we're looking at their employment and wage outcomes after their graduation. So the final report has been completed and reviewed by internal and external, as well as comms. Data narrative is also completed with manager feedback implemented already. It was sent out last week to partners for the last review process that we have to go through. Then it will be published on our website.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. I think Ari has the next slide.
All right, so the first bit of research I'm going to talk about is the relationship between firm size and wage growth for degree earners in Utah. And this study identifies the relationship between wages for recent USHE graduates and whether or not they are employed in a small or a large firm, and then how that is related to their earnings. So this one, the report itself has been authored and feedback has been incorporated from data partners. The data narrative is currently with UX. And so we're waiting. So they're working on, building our lovely data narrative right now. Once I've received that, that will go on to partners for review. And then the overall project will go to comms for review as well. So once that's completed, so it's kind of the final stages for that one. Final review stages for that one. And on the next slide is post-graduation pathways for nursing graduates. This one looks at what are the labor market and then education ladder, or what do labor market pathways and education ladders look like for those who graduate as CNAs, LVNs, and RN programs here from the USHE systems. This is in the initial analysis phase. So I am currently going through running tests, making slides, kind of learning what's going on. After that, it will be reported to our data partners, where they will give their initial feedback, which I will incorporate. After that incorporation, I will finish authoring the report and send that out for peer review, then data partner review. We'll work on the data narrative. So this is still in the pretty early phases where the data is pulled and we're just learning the fun stuff. And then I believe Connor is actually sick today, so I'm going to give this back to Karen.
Yeah, so Connor is out sick and he sent us the summary of what he's working on right now. So for RA16, the area of study outcomes, he's currently working on the first draft for this report and the outcomes of college graduates by area of study. And he is using the 2-digit zip code, so the family of zip codes. And he's looking at students who received an award in 2012. And he is focusing on the top 5 zip family right now. So those are health, business, liberal arts and sciences, education, and social sciences.
And to compare the outcomes of the graduates, he is looking at the percentage of graduates found in Utah's workforce, as well as their median income from 2013 Q1 to 2021 Q4. And to determine if the median wage received 1 year before and after the pandemic recession, 2019 Q2 and 2021 Q2 respectively are statistically different from the median incomes in 2020 Q2. And it looks like the next step for him is to work on the first draft, and he expects to have that done within the next couple of weeks. And after that, the report will go through the internal review process, and then the data partners will have the opportunity to provide any feedback. And as the reviews are underway, he will begin working on the data narrative portion of this report. And I think that's it.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for that very succinct update on all of our research. So the next step will be for us to provide a quick update on user experience and data coordination. So unfortunately, Zach is actually traveling today for a training, and so I will be providing the update on his behalf. So, and in case if you'll go to the next slide. So I'm going to go ahead, and he sent me an update on this specific component. So we completed 2 research projects since the advisory board last met, and including in that the creation of 2 interactive data narratives, allowing for further exploration of the research findings. The first one is on the public assistance in post-secondary education in Utah. That one examined the impact that post-secondary education had on how quickly students exited SNAP and TANF programs. The second one was outcomes for K-12 students with disability up to 5 years after high school. This one highlighted some of the college enrollment and completion gaps that students with disability faced, as well as gaps in their workforce outcomes after leaving college. Consequently to that, we incorporated into USHE. So new resources became available to us than previously were. So we were able to leverage the Tableau suite of products, including Tableau desktop licenses for researchers to use for USHE's Tableau service site. Within this, LDS provided Tableau server currently maintained by the Utah Education and Telehealth Network. So whereas before we had to use Tableau Public, so that's a huge benefit for the UDRC individuals here. Just an example of how our merge has led to some beneficial outcomes for the UDRC. So next slide, please. Okay, and so we wanted to provide a quick update on some changes that are forthcoming of the UDRC website. First, we're going to be reorganizing the published research page, which is the page that's currently shown in the slide, just to make sure. Yep. And we are going to be changing the order of that so that it's chronologically, so that when individuals go to that slide, they're able to see the most recently published work, where currently it is alphabetical, which I think sometimes is not the best organization for the specific purpose that we have in mind, which is for people to be able to see what is the most recent research that's been produced. So, and we're also doing additional changes to our website, smaller changes, smaller user experience changes that I think for most people, they probably wouldn't recognize or notice, but it allows for the much better flow of the individual, the user experience as it relates to people coming to our website and interacting with our website. So next page, please. Okay, so as far as data requests are concerned, we completed Launch My Career 2023, and so Utah System of Higher Education has a contract with a third-party vendor who manages a tool called Launch My Career. We are the source of that data that is very, very critical for the maintenance, long-term maintenance of that tool. So we were able to provide that data packet to the appropriate individuals for the updating of the Launch My Career. And we are very close to having that tool updated with the 2023 data. It should be up and running within the next month. So we did receive a data request from Salt Lake County, specifically their Economic Development Department. They submitted a request for data associated with a program that they oversee and that is also related to education. So this request for data will be going out to the potentially impacted data partners. You'll obviously have a chance to review the data request and provide feedback. So we didn't have any declined requests at this time. So any questions about our UX or data requests update today? Okay, next page. All right, so that actually concludes our formal update to our data partners and our advisory board. I'll now leave it open for any public comments, any questions, comments, or concerns that anyone might have. And we'd love to go ahead and address those today.
Jeremiah, this is Whitney again. Thanks for explaining all of this. I just have a question on whether or not UDRC and you all would like more requests from external researchers. Are you interested in kind of increasing those requests, or are you kind of inundated with them where you can't, fulfill them, or they're not, I don't know. Like, what is your feel? Do you want more people doing research with the data?
No, I think the answer to that is absolutely. So we would definitely have capacity. I think in the last, we've been really lucky. I would say that in the last since July of last year till now, we've had a limited number of data requests, which has actually been good because we've been really focused on migrating our data system over to USHE, and has made us a little bit less able to complete data requests. So, but having said that, now that we're here and we're much more well established, we definitely have bandwidth to manage data requests as they come in the future. So, what if you like to be a marketer for us in that regard, we would welcome that. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm meeting with a bunch of educational researchers in about a month and didn't know whether I should let them know what you have. And
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks.
No, you should. Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah.
Whitney, is that the meeting with the registrars and the others that you're setting up that we're participating in with you?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. We don't have an exact date yet, but I think the most likely date right now is June 8th. For everyone else, we're just putting together a kind of a day-long training on privacy in higher education, and it's for not just public ed, but also private as well, because they receive money from the federal government and are subject to FERPA as well. And so given, we want to let them know what is possible to research, not just what the boundaries are. I'm very pro-research, and so working with them, I don't want them to think that things can't be done, but giving them ways that research can be conducted legally.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Whitney. Any other questions, comments, or concerns at this time? Okay, well, seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn today's meeting. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day.